technology on Guam now. They actually will be the forward-moving environmental stewards to take care, of our environment by bringing this technology to Guam, and that's what you're doing today as governor. Lieutenant Governor, thank you for meeting with me on no less than 2 occasions, and he's got a lot of other work we talked about, Governor, but we'll talk about that later. He's very, very active, but also want to thank Senator Clint Rigel for really being active on this, and Ricky Orsini as well. Your staff was just amazing in terms of allowing us to move forward on this. So on behalf of the families, once again, and there's many others that came to the hearing, and Governor, there also are pending applications. I think there's up to 10 at Public Works now that are awaiting this system to come into play. And those families, along with these other families, will realize that dream of homeownership and like I said, being environmental stewards. So thank you once again for your leadership and sticking it out with myself. Every single senator here is a co-sponsor to this measure. And so once again, thank you, and may God bless you and your team. Thank you.
Cesar Masi, Senator Duenas. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua Tenorio for his remarks.
Senator Duenas, thank you also for your perseverance through, I think, a more difficult time than necessary. And the point here is we're trying to prioritize and do everything we can to make building homes affordable for our people. We see what has happened elsewhere where islanders are being displaced from their homelands, forced to move. When we are able to be very progressive, look at the technology, keep the balance with our pledge to our natural resources, but to give direct aid to the families and the people of Guam. And I just want to thank Senator Duenas for being willing to sit down in a very transparent way, understanding the issues and moving forward together. And I just wanted to, although this is not on the agenda today, but the point is that we are in a situation where we need to do everything to get our people to live on Guam. And I know that Senator Duenas has Bill 51 that also is pending. There's a hearing. I personally have been talking to the governor. I'm in understanding, talking to other lieutenant governors from around the country. There is a crisis happening in the United States. Here, we have many multi-generational families living in households. On Bill 51, for example, which would allow us to expand and really, in many ways, deregulate the residential occupation of homes. It's really going to allow us to be able to face the reality. The reality is that we do, like Chamorros and other Guamanians, do want to live in multi-generational, multi-family homes. We're obligated to take care of our parents. We're there to try and get our younger ones to get into adulthood. And this legislation combined with a bit more progressive thoughts and realistic thoughts and programs to allow separate entrances for families and to be able to maybe even consider removing the barriers and the delays at the Land Use Commission for having single versus multi-residential units, right? I mean, we have to be able to do everything we can right now to be able to get people into homes. The economic future is very bright, but it's also challenging. And these are the kind of tools today's bill lets us make sure that our families can build and also really utilize technology and science to be able to get the job done. So Senator Duenas, thank you, and your colleagues. I'm looking forward to more work in this regard as we really try and make this island more business friendly for our people and for the businesses to stay here and to thrive. Thank you very much for your effort.
Cesar Masi, Lieutenant Governor. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Lourdes Leon for remarks. But Governor, before you sign the bill, please pause so we can allow our stakeholders to join you in the photo as you put pen to paper. So remarks only.
Thank you very much, Crystal. And I just want to say welcome to everybody here at our conference room where, as you know, great decisions are made. I also wanted to say happy liberation to all of you, and that I know that we are going to be celebrating 80 years of liberation, and that's a very, very important, significant landmark that we are going to be celebrating, honoring our war survivors, honoring our liberators. But I also would like to welcome our visitors from outside of Guam who are our Chamorros and are coming back to celebrate with us. We have the sons and daughters of San Diego here visiting, and they brought their queen with them. I wanted to also thank Senator Chris Duenas for your very persistent fight to help our people, our Chamorro people, and our people that live here, to provide the kind of housing that they need and they so well deserve. I also am very cognizant of the importance of also protecting our aquifers and our lands and our waters, and 80% of our aquifers, water aquifers comes from the land. And it's a very, I think, sacred resource for us, because if there is no water, we don't live. And so I do understand the advocates of preserving and protecting our waterlands. I also do understand the importance of providing housing and a good living situation for our people. And I think this piece of legislation takes both sides to question, and both sides to give the answer and a resolution. And that is using, like you said, science and technology to break down the nitrates and to prevent the nitrates from coming into our waterlands. I just want to thank you also, Senator, and all of you for working with us to come up with a very, I think, reasonable and practical solution. I just want to say to the people of Guam, too, that when there is an issue that needs to be addressed, it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. We all come together, as you see right here, from both sides of the aisle to come up with a solution that works for our people. And so this actually 175 is a good testament of that, where we work together with our administrative staff from the executive branch and your staff from the legislative branch. So I just want to thank our senators who are very reasonable and wanting to compromise for the sake of our people. And I am very honored to sign this piece of legislation. Like Senator Chris Duenas, we apologize for having to wait 5 years or more to get your house. But here it is now, and what a great way to celebrate during Liberation Day. So I just want to say thank you for your patience. Thank you for your persistence. And again, as a government, we apologize that you have to wait so long, but with the great work of the senators, we now have a bill where you can now move forward, right? Yeah. And build in your land and provide the kind of housing that you want for your family and your children. So, okay, I am pausing now.
Thank you, Governor.
So they can come around and so I can sign this bill.
You're still the boss, though. Stakeholders, our families, especially join behind our governor as she puts pen to paper, making Bill 175 a law. Auntie and our realtors, please join us in the back too. We'd love for you.
Yes, our realtors here too that have been great advocates also.
So all our stakeholders, please join us. Also, Governor, after you sign Bill 175 into law, I ask that you gift the pen that you've signed with to the bill's sponsor.
Okay.
But actually, Governor, before you proceed, one of our family members has a special presentation for you. Senators, if you can make room for her. The Santos and the Pangilinan, Governor.
Affected by this bill, Jesus Maasi and
Benanga, los sumasi todos ni sacrifice mi dun para sa obis din natin.
Happy Liberation.
Again, the Santos and the Pangolina families presenting flowers to our governor. Also joining our governor and our lieutenant governor and our senators from the 37th Guam legislature are realtors and the families affected by Bill 175. Governor, take it away.
Okay, so I am now signing this bill, and this is to certify that substitute bill number 17537 and act to amend section 48101C and add new section 48101F through 1 to amend. Thanks, David. To amend and renumber section 48106 and 48112, point 1, to add new bill section 48112 dot 1B and 48112.2 to repeal and reenact section 48125 and 48126, and to add new section 48127, 48128, 48129, and 48130, all of Chapter 48, Title 10, Guam Code, annotated relative to including nitrogen reducing systems, establishing an administrative process, and creating the sewage disposal assistance and the NGLA study. And I am now signing it into Public Law 37-105 on July 18, 2024. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. Go build your home now. Thank you so much, Governor. If we could pose for a photo, and then we'll reset for the next bill signing ceremony. So please don't go anywhere. To our stakeholders standing behind our governor, please pose for the group photo. If you're just tuning in to Governor's live stream, you're watching the bill signing ceremony for Bill 175, relative to including nitrogen reducing systems, establishing an administrative process, and creating the sewage disposal assistance and the NGLA study fund.
Hafide, and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Office of the Governor of Guam for a very special bill signing ceremony for Bill 267, relative to authorizing the Division of Public Welfare of the Department of Public Health and Social Services to join or use contracts of other states, other government units, or not-for-profit entities comprising one or more states or government procurement units. I've already introduced all the dignitaries at our table, but again, I just want to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Governor of Guam, as well as the Honorable Joshua Tenorio, Lieutenant Governor of Guam. The presence of our sponsors for Bill 267, Vice Speaker Tina Manya Barnes, Senator Roy Kanata, Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Will Parkinson, Senator Jesse Lujan, Senator Joseph Augustine, I also want to acknowledge the presence of the remaining members of the 37th Guam Legislature. Let's give them a round of applause. I don't want to miss anybody. Also at our table this afternoon, we have in the Department of Public Health and Social Services, our Acting Director, Teresa Ariola. And without further ado, I want to give the floor now to Vice Speaker Tina Munya Barnes, sponsor of Bill 267, for her remarks.
Jesus Masi, Crystal, and many of God's blessings to all of us here this afternoon. Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, for having us here this afternoon for a very special signing to work closely with the Department of Public Health and Social Services. And I want to share that I know there's always been a special place in your heart for the health of our community. As a nurse, you're well aware of just how many families rely on medical coverage provided by Medicaid and MIP. And for the more than 45,000 patients on these government-funded insurance programs, Bill 267 offers a road of improvements. By allowing the Department of Public Health's Division of Public Welfare the ability to join another state or territory's existing IT system contract, we are laying the groundwork for a modernization of how we manage Medicaid and MIP, using a proven model that has already worked for SNAP and WIC that we have here at Public Health and is fully endorsed by our federal partners. It starts with increased financial investments from the feds. When states and territories design, develop, install, or enhance qualified systems, the federal government provides 90% of the funding and 75% of the funding for operating those systems after they have been installed. So non-compliant systems are only eligible for 50% of the federal funding. This 50% funding is what our current system is eligible here in the government of Guam. And what does that mean, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and to everybody listening? What this means for our patients is benefits include faster processing of claims and applications and a more convenient online portal that will cut down processing times. This change will also mean government personnel can be reallocated from manual processing, customer service, and case management rather than hire more employees. It will reduce the errors, delays, and other administrative burdens that come with paper-based applications and automate workflows to make the multi-step processes easier to track and manage to completion. All of these improvements will bring down the risk of penalties related to the non-compliance of established timeframes, while also offering a robust audit capabilities. In closing, Madam Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and to my colleagues here with me, I want to thank the good senators that joined me on this. Senator Roy Kanata, Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Will Parkinson, Senator Jesse Lujan, Senator Frank Blas, Senator Joseph Augustine, Senator Amanda Shelton, Senator Dwayne Seneclis, and I'd be remiss if I didn't also recognize Senator Tom Fisher because he voted for the bill, for them co-sponsoring this legislation, and to the staff of Department of Public Health and Social Services for helping us get this over to the finish line. Governor and Lieutenant Governor, I want to say with the support, Mrs. Ariola, the support team from Public Health who continue to do a good job with, it was Carlos Pangilinan, Chris Carrillo, and the whole team at Public Health who said CMS, the federal government has been asking for this. And when they broached it to mine, and I said, let's do it now, let's get it over. So I look forward to the new contract being finalized, the new system being brought online, and with it, all the improvements for our patients, our partner clinics, and our dedicated government employees who manage these important programs. So, and I was reminded by my good colleague that even the interns help support this, and I have a bunch of our interns that are going to college and and our PPI. Please stand up and be recognized to the staff of TMB that's here today, because they literally do an awesome job for being here and helping out. We literally are training them to be in this seat very soon. So thank you, Governor.
Thank you so much, Vice Speaker. And Vice Speaker, you did me a favor by reminding me who I forgot at the table. Let's give a round of applause for Senator Tom Fisher, who supported this bill. Yes. I now want to give the floor to Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio for his remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Speaker. Thank you very much for this big help. It's very timely. We have CMS folks on the ground. There are about 40 federal officials from throughout the government, but really in particular focused on partnering with us to improve the healthcare situation on Guam that are here. Just as in a nutshell, federal government has invested tens of millions of dollars through states to develop some of the best systems. And our folks are going to be able to select some of those federally funded systems, select the one that best is applicable to our population and to our providers. That's the other part of it. This new technology also is going to be helpful to the healthcare providers on Guam to facilitate applications, but to make sure that they get paid very timely. It really is a big innovation. And I'm looking forward, and I'm hoping that the legislature is going to timely hear Director Ariola's confirmation. Of course, we took her from Guam Behavioral Health, where she led the effort to bring behavioral health out of a federal receivership and into one of the highest performing public agencies on Guam. And we're looking forward to her leadership with her team to implement a whole bunch of innovations that all of us know are needed at public health to make sure that we provide better services to our community, but also to set us up for an aggressive move that the governor and I are making to lift the cap of Medicaid. There is a lot of work. We're working with our folks. This is going to let us be able to identify and project how much more money is needed in federal support to make sure that those that are living below the poverty lines are going to get access to quality health care. This is really what this legislation is going to do. And Madam Vice Speaker, thank you very much again for pushing this forward and allowing this to be passed by the legislature. Sidus Masi.
Sidus Masi, Lieutenant Governor. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Governor Lourdes A. Leon-Guerrero for her remarks, and then she'll pause and we'll set the room for the photo and the signing.
Thank you very much, Crystal. You know, I am very biased to healthcare. And I always say, if you're not healthy, you can't learn, you cannot do your business, you cannot get up and go to work. So healthcare is like water, the most essential part of our lives. And our job as government and our job as leaders is to make sure that we give our people access to healthcare. And this Medicaid is one form of access to healthcare. It is a very affordable Medicaid program partnering with the federal government, and it provides our people with the ability to go to their doctors and not have to pay a lot out of their pocket. And so this is very important. What's also important is the processing of this program. And we know that there's been so many delays in processing because our systems are not advanced to the point where we can immediately make them eligible and sign on for Medicaid and then use Medicaid to go see their doctors. So I just want to say, Vice Speaker, thank you for being the champion of healthcare. And you have done a lot of work in healthcare. You've provided a lot of access, opportunities, pieces of legislation that has promoted healthcare. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank Senator Joe San Augustine, Roy Kanata, Tom Fisher, Will Parkinson, Chris Duenas, and Jesse Lujan for your support in providing people with the most important essential piece of their life, and that is healthcare. I also want to thank the federal government for being such great partners with us. When we entered our administration, I said to Josh, they are only paying us $18 million a year for Medicaid, and we foot the rest of the expenses through our general fund. All other states are getting more than we are. So we went and fought in federal government. We fought at the White House, we fought in Congress, and what they did is they hurt us. So they increased their Medicaid share from $18 million to $136 million. That is a great, amazing achievement for our people here. And it's because leaders like you and us that know what it is and how it is to fight the fight. We are also, during that period of time when there was only 18 million, there's the federal share, right? So the local government gives a share and the federal government gives a share. At that time when we were getting only 18 million, we had to pay 40% and the federal government paid 60%. In the United States, they sometimes don't have to pay a share. So we went again and fought hard, and now they pay us 83% of the share, and we only pay 17% of the share. So that again is another important accomplishment for what? For healthcare for our people. And so, Madam Vice Speaker, your hard work and your tenacious work in being the champion of healthcare to make this happen is certainly amazing. And I want the people of Guam to know that these senators here fight hard for you. And I know it's election time. We cannot be blind to that. And these here are your good senators that do support the people of Guam. So remember them in November or August? No, November 5th. That's the general election. Okay, so now I am very honored to sign Bill 267 into law. So I will pause. Or wait.
Madam Governor, if I may, we have the student interns that are here from our office and the DYA workers who really helped out, and I'd like for them to come up here to have them.
Yes, absolutely. Come on up and take a picture. I want to invite our interns to the front as well as our Department of Public Health and Social Services staff to join for the signing.
Yes.
Okay, are we set?
Okay.
recipients. That's gotta mean something.
Governor, you may proceed.
All right, thank you very much. It is an honor for me to sign a substitute bill number 267-37, which is an act to add a new section 51261 to sub-article C, Article 2, Chapter 5, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to authorizing the Division of Public Welfare of the Department of Public Health and Social Services to join or use contracts of other states, other government procurement units, or not-for-profit entities comprising one or more states or government procurement units. So Bill 267-37, upon my signature, will become Public Law number 37-107, today, July 18, 2024. And I would like to present the pen that I have signed this into law to Vice Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes.
Thank you. While you're staying, the photographers and photos. We're all good? Half a day. We're midway through their half a day. Let's try that again. Half a day. Thank you so much. That's it, right? Bill 275 will be signed this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here at the office of the Governor of Guam. We're also live streaming on Governor's YouTube page, Gov. Guam. I want to welcome you for Bill 275 relative to standardizing. Bill, are you for? 275 relative to standardizing airport police and aircraft rescue and firefighting positions compensation at the A.B. Wampat International Airport Authority of Guam. We've already recognized our governor, our lieutenant governor, and the members of the 37th Guam legislature joining us this afternoon. So without further ado, I want to give the floor now to the bill's sponsor, Senator Jesse Lujan, for his remarks.
Thank you very much, Crystal. You know, this being very close to Liberation Day, I guess we can consider finally, this could be considered the APD and ARF's reparations. Finally, so again, thank you all for being here this afternoon. You know, today is really a significant milestone for the A.B. Wampat International Airport Authority, Guam, with the passage and signing, of course, of Bill 275-37 COR into public law. This law addresses the critical need for standardized compensation for our airport police and our aircraft rescue and firefighting, ARF personnel, by aligning their pay with the Guam International Airport Authority certified technical and professional rules. We ensure that these indispensable roles are compensated fairly and equitably. This promotes consistency and competitiveness within our airport authority, ensuring our dedicated personnel receive the recognition and the remuneration they do deserve. I want to thank, of course, the members of the 37th Guam Legislature for voting in favor of this legislation. It was 14-0 with one excused absence. This demonstrates again our legislative body's commitment to the safety and well-being of our community and the professionals who safeguard our airport. Your dedication and support to have been instrumental in making this law a reality. Furthermore, we are extremely grateful, Governor Leolon Guerrero, for her leadership and commitment, of course, to the airport personnel. By signing this bill, you have taken, of course, a critical step in recognizing and valuing their essential services. Again, thank you again very much, Governor Leolon Guerrero, for your support and decisive actions. We look forward to a positive impact this law will have on our airport operations and continued safety for our community, not just our local community, but also our traveling public. With that, Jesús Masi, and happy liberation, everybody. Viva!
Jesus Masi, Senator Lujan. In addition to the senators joining us from the 37th Guam Legislature who were here for the previous bill signings, I also want to acknowledge Senator Amanda Shelton joining us. And I failed to recognize our great stakeholders in the room as well. Former Senator John Kinata, Executive Manager for the Guam International Airport Authority. Our airport police. Let's give them a round of applause. And our airport rescue and firefighters joining us today. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua Tenorio for his remarks.
Thank you. Senator Lujan, thank you very much for you and the members of the legislature really are resolving a long-standing disparity and sense and source of tension, quite frankly, at the Airport Authority. And this means that the Airport Authority and its board can be unified as it considers all of the pay, compensation, and policies for all of the airport employees. And up until this point, the airport firemen and policemen and women were all segregated. They were treated separately. There was really a lot of disparity that got created and some confusion along the way, but you certainly have been able to resolve this. I think this may have been a 15-year long journey that finally has been resolved. So thank you very much, Senator Lujan, and then to, of course, the hardworking men and women at the Airport Authority. Thank you very much for your professionalism, your work, and for your commitment to the people of Guam and all our visitors. Happy liberation.
Thank you so much, LT. And now for her remarks, the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero.
Thank you very much, Crystal. And welcome again. One of the other things that we as community always value is our safety. When we go to sleep, we want to feel that we are safe at home. When we send our kids to school, we want to feel that our kids are safe at school. When we open our businesses, we want to feel that our businesses are safe to operate. And so law enforcement and safety officers are very important to the critical quality of life that we so well deserve. And our airport and our fire rescue people at the airport play a very important role to continue that feeling of safety and security at our homes, at our schools, and at our businesses. And so I just want to thank you for your sacrifices and thank you for everything that you do to be up to standard with everything in terms of your practices, your resources, and your equipment to keep our people and our travelers safe when they arrive and also safe as they depart. And so thank you for that. And like the Lieutenant Governor said, it is really for me confusing where one time you're over on this side and the next time you're over on this side. And Senator Jesse Lujan is very well visioned in that we need to clear that and make that confusion go away. And so now that you are part of the CT pay plan, all of the personnel, right, JQ, in your airport are now under the same rules and the same standards and the same regulations. And that makes a lot easier for administration and a lot easier for policy direction. So thank you again, Senator Lujan, for your hard work, and also for all the senators here who have supported this bill and again are very much in great passion to serve the people of Guam as they have been elected to do so. So thank you very much. And now we will sign Bill 275 into law, and you guys can move forward with your CTP. Congratulations.
Gentlemen in the back, if you're here for Bill 275, please join us. To our recipients of Bill 275, yes, join us for this group photo.
We can't go outside. If you guys need to go outside, we can send more. If you need to go inside, you can.
I think it's better out here.
It's better. Just go next to it.
Fire, right?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Again, I am honored to have Bill number 27537, an act to add a new subsection I to section 1112 of Article 1, Chapter 1, Division 1, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to standardizing airport police and aircraft rescue and firefighting positions compensation at the Antonio B. Wampat International Airport Authority of Guam. And I am now signing Bill 275 into Public Law 37-108 on this day, July 18, 2024. And I am giving my pen now to Senator Jesse Lujan.
Thank you.
All right, we'll save another pen for you. No. Half a day. One more time, once more. Last but not least, the best, saving the best for last. Hafaday! Hafaday, and thank you so much for joining us here on this beautiful Thursday to sign Bill 264, an act to appropriate $5 million from fiscal year 2024 general fund revenues collected in excess of the adopted levels enumerated in Public Law 37-42 as amended to the Department of Parks and Recreation for the purpose of constructing the Nata Mananyata Shrine. I've already recognized our dignitaries at the table, but I also want to recognize our new additions to the table, starting with our DPR Director, Angel Sablan, and Mr. Melvin Wampat Borja, Department of Chamorro Affairs. I also want to acknowledge on this side of the table, Mr. Phil Flores and his son Rocco from Bank Pacific, celebrating 70 years. Thank you, Phil. Now that everyone is seated, I want to give the floor now to Vice Speaker Tina Munya Barnes, sponsor of Bill 264.
Thank you, Cecil Samasi Crystal, and to you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. Thank you so much for inviting us senators here today to show the good results that can happen when the legislative and executive branches work together, especially when the work is bipartisan and based on a consensus of ideas and brings back a lot of memories. This bill was in the works maybe 32 years ago. Land war claims was over 70 years, and we're going to close another chapter, Madam Governor. So the mandate for the government to build a national shrine where we can lay our ancestors to rest was enacted into law more than 32 years ago. To put it into perspective, members of that legislature, Madam Governor and Lieutenant Governor, was then Governor Carl Gutierrez, Congresswoman Madeline Berdalio, and two fathers of senators serving here today. My good brother, Senator Joe T. San Augustine, and Senator Don Parkinson's sons are here with us today. Though they're in heaven watching over us, you know, we're really proud that this day is happening. I thank these stewards of our history for finding the obvious solution to an unacceptable situation. The fact that ancestral remains, some unearthed a century ago, are being treated like inventory and not like human beings. I also want to take this opportunity to thank a very special person, been with this bank for more than 40-some years, but Mr. Phil Flores and his son Rocco are here because for more than a decade has donated a climate control facility where our ancestral remains have been stored while this shrine was waiting to be built. So please, right now at this time, I want to thank Mr. Flores and his family and his bank. They, for a long time, been wanting to make sure that the bones of our ancestors were preserved. Phil, thank you for doing your part, stepping up when the government couldn't provide a temporary facility to protect our ancestral remains. You know, ladies and gentlemen, about 8 years ago, land was identified to build this monument to our ancient relatives. And now today, we are finally committing funding to build it. And since we are on the eve of our 80th Liberation Day, a season where we honor and remember Guam's greatest generation, I think it's poetic and proper for us to spend some time giving thanks and respect to the generations of Chamorros who came before us. Those who've witnessed the Stars and Stripes being raised for the first time after the Spanish-American War, those who welcomed the first Catholic priest to our island, those first defenders from Spanish oppression, and those trailblazers who were the first to step foot on this blessed place. Ladies and gentlemen, Inaftin Mananaytay, the Chamorro National Shrine, has been designated to serve as the final resting place for thousands of these mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, and grandparents, and a place for the Chamorro people to reflect on our existence. An existence that is only possible because of the Manana, who live on this very island, who crossed an ocean with nothing but the stars to guide them, and settled the Marianas thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Today, by signing this bill into law, we are reaffirming the Chamorro values of giving the highest respect to our elders, of reciprocating the love shared and the knowledge passed down by our parents and grandparents and by their parents and grandparents, all the way back to the ancient people we are honoring today. To the fine people at the Department of Parks and Recreation, the State Historic Preservation Office, the Department of Chamorro Affairs, the Guam Museum, the Young Men's League of Guam, and I'd be remiss if I didn't especially want to thank the late Andy Laguardia, who passed away but literally wanted to see this national shrine be built for our ancient Chamorros. Undunkulu na si Zeus Masi for your tireless advocacy and activism, for the energy and patience to see this project through. And folks, I know we hear it so often, its meaning can be overlooked, but sincerely, when I wish you Saina Maasi, I hope and pray that our ancestors, our Sainas, bless us with mercy, with wisdom, and grace that is ingrained in our very own DNA. On this 80th year liberation of our greatest generation that ever lived, and to all those who have passed before us, Undaklo na si Zeus Masi, si Zeus Bini DC Hamzu Todos, and God bless each and every one of you for never giving up. And you know, I know Governor and Lieutenant Governor, we have some folks from San Diego, Chamorros, like you said earlier, who've come home to visit after so many decades being away. This is yet another success under your leadership with Lieutenant Governor that we are finally gonna start moving forward to build this national shrine. And everybody who's put their footprints in to making this happen, we're gonna see it to the finish line again. So God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Cesar Masi, Vice Speaker. And I want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua Tenorio, our Lieutenant Governor of Guam.
Thank you, everybody. Phil, thank you very much to you and your family. The remains were stored at the Angela Flores building for many, many, many years. And maybe just for everybody else to understand, where did these remains come from? During periods of rapid expansion in Guam's economy, there were archaeological firms that were commissioned to go out there and help developers. And at that time, prior to some statutes, a statute that in particular I'll mention in a minute, remains were removed. And for decades and decades, some of the remains were stored in archaeological offices, archaeologist offices throughout the island and actually throughout the world. We also had remains that were taken by Mr. Hornbostel that wound up in the Bishop Museum in Hawaii as part of a collection. And more than 2 decades ago, remains were returned to the government of Guam so that they could be interred. Yet, many of the remains have not been interred. In fact, no remains have been interred except for those that were disturbed after Senator Arreola, the late Senator Beryl Arreola, was able to pass legislation in the 1990s that were able to give us instructions on what to do when we discover remains. That law, for example, has been in place, and the best example of how that law worked has been up at Camp Blas. When remains were found, human remains were found, the Marine Corps did many things to keep the remains interred. They made amendments or updates to their designs so that they can avoid those areas. Some cases where there's public infrastructure that's needed, such as sewer lines, sometimes remains cannot remain in place. Yet there are instructions on how to resolve them. The remains that are going to be at the Naftin Maninata are those remains that many people could say were forgotten. They were not forgotten by Mr. Flores and his family. They were not forgotten by some of the employees of the government that maintain the records. And now, because of the legislation that Vice Speaker Tina Muñoz-Barnes has passed along with her colleagues, for sure those remains will never be forgotten. And with this legislation is an appropriation to construct a very appropriate shrine that will allow us to inter our Chamorro relatives from generations past to finally be at rest. This is such a big unresolved issue for our people, and fortunately this legislation is going to put an end to that issue. I just want to also say that a few weeks ago, or maybe it was last month, both the governor and I had a chance to be in Hawaii for the Festival of Pacific Arts. And we were able to go to the Bishop Museum and see some of the 15,000 artifacts that were taken by the Hornbossos when they were here a century ago. And I'm pleased to tell you that for these non-remains that are out there, the Bishop Museum and the government of Guam will come into an agreement that is going to allow our professionals to upskill themselves and for us also to make progress on the disposition, the definite return of laddie stones to the Marianas, both in Guam and in Rota, but also to help our developing professionals in the government of Guam that are going to be the guardians of our treasures of Guam. For the remains that get to be interred, this finally puts this unresolved issue and up to rest, literally. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. But Phil, thank you very much. You know, there's people underestimate. You were able to move beyond what the profits you could be making on a building, which, you know, for decades was one of the courts, right? We have family court there for a long time. Very prime piece of real estate, but you were able to put the island ahead of your own business and be able to gift that to the people of Guam and safeguard all of our ancestors. And for that, I just really want to thank you. You were inspired. Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you very much, Madam Vice Speaker.
Jesus Masi LT, and I think that's where Bank Pacific gets their motto, where others put branches, we place roots. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Governor of Guam.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Phil, I also want to echo our deepest appreciation. You know, your family, of course, is an icon in the community of Guam, and I know your parents are up there now just throwing you lots of kisses and hugs to both you and Rocco and your whole family. And just to say that, you know, Phil is a Republican, but he's a very, very kind Republican. He's a Republican that's provided financial aid to many of our people, and a Republican also who contributes a lot to the community. And so all the values and principles of a Democrat. I like to tease him about that. But seriously, thank you so much. On behalf of the people of Guam, we appreciate you protecting our ancestors. And
families would want us to do.
yes, that is right. That is right. And so I also want to thank the Vice Speaker. I know that the debate of this bill was a very serious, hard, contentious, controversial, adversarial, tension debate. And just want to also say to the people of Guam that this Naftin Maninata has actually been all set the architectural designs, the surroundings, and so forth, was all set almost decades away, with some very good architect in the name of Andy Laguana, and by the way, also Josh's first cousin. And so all that we needed to do really is to find the money. And of course, with the great leadership also of our appropriations chair here, he found the money and worked with everybody to get it going. And to me, it seemed like it was a simple piece of legislation. But I just want to thank the senators for fighting hard for this piece of legislation to really, deep down in our heart, place our ancestors in a home where they can be peaceful, right there at the cliff over in Oka Point, looking down to the ocean, and where we can come and sit with them and reflect of our ancestors and our culture, our traditions, and of course maintaining and sustaining our practices. So I just want to thank everybody and thank you again, Vice Speaker, for the great fight that you led down there to make this happen. Sidus Masi, and again, in the eve of Liberation Day, this is just so appropriate and so on point. So thank you.
To our stakeholders joining us, please stand behind Governor Lilian Guerra. She signs Bill 264 into law. Again, if you're just tuning in to our YouTube live stream, Bill 264 is an act to appropriate $5 million from fiscal year.
Crystal,
Yes,
can we
ma'am.
have our visitors from San Diego come join us? Because I'll tell you, this organization maintains and supports and sustains our culture for our people who are in the mainland and of course San Diego and throughout the whole world. So this is very appropriate that you stand here with us on this signing.
For purposes of aesthetics, I'm going to ask our stakeholders to shift to the left, their left, where there's too many people on one side. Our San Diego visitors, please join us. Get closer.
Thank you. This is to certify that Bill number 264-37, an act to appropriate $5 million from fiscal year 2024 general fund revenues collected in excess of the adopted levels enumerated in Public Law 37-42, as amended to the Department of Parks and Recreation for the purpose of constructing the Naftan Maninata Shrine. It is great honor for me to now pass Bill 264, sign Bill 264-37 into Public Law 37-106 on this day, July 18, 2024. And I am giving my signing pen to Mr. Phil Flores.
For those watching our YouTube live stream, thank you so much for joining us here at the Office of the Governor of Guam. You are watching the bill signing ceremonies for Bill 175, Bill 264, Bill 267, and Bill 275. Thank you and have a great Liberation Day weekend. Viva Guam!